Hello everyone, welcome back once again. And today's topic is we will learn how to add the elements or numbers or items of two unequal size lists. Okay, and then we will store that addition into a third list. So we will be basically adding two lists, the elements of the two lists, and we will be storing those numbers, the additions, into a third list. So let's get started. So what we need to do first is, okay, let me just tell you exactly what we are going to do. For example, we have a to list that is L1, okay, and it has numbers something like this, okay, and then we have L2, and there are certain numbers like this. Okay, so when we say the third list, okay, the third list will have the addition of the first number of L1 and the first number of L2, so that will be 3, and then 3 plus 2, that will be 5, and then 4 and 3, that is 7, and this will be 9. So this is what we need to achieve. Okay, yes, the tutorial is about how to do additions of two unequal sized lists. Now that is what we need to do. So basically, for example, if this is only of size 2 and this is of size 4, so in that case what we will do is we will have only the list L3 that we will generate is 1 plus 2 3 and 2 plus 3, that is 5. Okay, and if we want, we will also so these are like two different size list. Okay, so we need to check first what are the size of the list, and then accordingly we need to add those numbers and store it into a list 3. And we will also take the program a bit further by adding the rest of the numbers from the bigger list. Just for example, L1 has 4, the size is 4, so there is 1, so these are like this is size 2 and this is size 4, so we can add 2 plus 1 and 3 plus 2, and then the rest of the numbers from the bigger size list we will just add it to L3. Okay, so this is what we are exactly going to do. So let's start with a simple program by which we are going to add these numbers of equal size list. So the first step we are going to achieve is to add the numbers of equal size list, and then we will take it further for adding the numbers for unequal sized list. And then the third step is the bigger list will the numbers that are remaining in the bigger list, we will add that to the third list. So this is the step-by-step process is what we are going to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to accept a number n, and I'm going to ask the user enter the size of the list. Okay, so user will basically give the size of the list, and depending on that I will accept the numbers in the list using a for loop. So for I in range n, so if n is 5, this will go from 0 to 4, right? And I will simply use the append function, and before, okay, I can do it over here also, like input, and I can say enter the number. Okay, so I will take that many numbers in that particular list. So what I'm doing is first I'm accepting the size. So if the size is 5, so I will accept 5 numbers and store it in the list L1, and I need to declare this before the loop as an empty list. Okay, and the same thing I will just copy it and paste it for the second list. So this is basically for the first list, okay, and this is for the second list. Okay, this is the second list, and this is the first list. So we will accept, now these are equal size, right? First we will do it for the equal size, and then we will take it further. So over here I'll make this as L2. So I'll declare one more list, that is L2, and I also require a third list to store the numbers, that is L3. Okay, so this is how I'm going to accept the number using the append function. I will accept a number and it will get stored in L1. So five numbers we will if it is a five numbers, that the size I have given as 5, so it will store 5 numbers in L1, and then again this loop runs and it will store in L2. So I can also give some message over here that um, just like something like first list, okay, to the user, and I'll just copy this and then it will start for the second user, okay, second list, and I'll just give a print, just a line feed, okay, over here. Okay, that's perfect. Now what I will do is, now I have to add, okay, I have to add these numbers. Okay, so first thing I will do it, let us just display whether everything is working fine or not. So I will display L1. Okay, there is some indentation problem. I'll just come to this indent and L2. Okay, if everything is fine, okay, let us see, there is some indentation problem, I guess. Okay, we'll get the error if there is any indentation error. So let us save this like something like addition of list. Okay, add lists dot py. Okay, and just let us try to run this. Okay, see, there is an invalid syntax. Invalid syntax is, okay, invalid syntax. So where did I go wrong? Okay, let us just check where we went wrong. This is just a message, that is print, and okay, everything looks fine to me. Invalid syntax. Okay, and okay, so maybe this thing is not working. So what I will do over here is I'll just accept in some number like okay, I'll just give some temporary number like temp. Okay, so this way I will do it and I will store it over here. So same thing I will do it for the second list. Just copy it and paste it and make this as L2. Okay, now we will see whether it works or not. So it is saying invalid. Okay, there is, okay, maybe that was the error that was creating a problem. Actually, I did not give a closing brackets, possibly. Okay, I'll just see. So if it works, we don't require this temp variable. Okay, okay, let us just see this. Okay, so that was the problem, that I did not give a closing bracket. So I'll just copy this now. I'll just copy this and I'll paste it over here. Okay, and I don't require this temp variable. Now everything looks fine. Now let us just run this program. So that's it. Enter the size of the list. I give 5. So first list I'll give 12, 34. Okay, and this one. So second list, again I can give some numbers, and here it is. This is the first list and this is the second list. So everything is working fine. Now what we will do is we will add the elements of the list. So for same loop I will use, because they are of the same size, right, and I will simply use L3 dot append, and what I will do is I have to just use the I variable, which will start from 0 to 4. If n is 5, it will go from 0 to 4, so which is the index value, right? So I will access the index value of L1, that is L1 of I, that will be 0 first, and L2 of I, even that will be 0. So this is L of I, L1 of 0 plus L2 of 0. So I'll be adding the index value, that is the first number to the first number of second list, and that I will store it in L3. Then I will become 1, so L1 of 1, right? So for example, if there are certain numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, and L2 is something like 3, 4, 5, 6, so I will be 0, so it will take 1, so L1 of 0, 1, and plus L2 of 0, that is 3. So we are adding those numbers with the plus operator, and I'm using the append function to add that addition to L3. Then I will become 1, so it will add 2 and 4, then 3 and 5, and 4 and 6, and it will go on storing in L3. So let us see whether we get the output for this or not. So I'll just simply print L3 over here, okay, and we will see the output now. So let us just give 5 numbers: 12, 34, 56, 78, and 90. The second list, maybe I can give the identical numbers, and you can see, okay, there is some problem, that is 4, 6, okay, 4, 6, 8. Okay, so it did not did the addition. Okay, so why it did not work, now we just need to see that. So L1 of I and 2, so everything looks fine. This is L1, this is L2, this is L3. Okay, just a minute. So it's very important to understand where exactly the logical error is, so it always helps you to it will improve your programming skills. So let us just run this, and once again we will see what exactly went wrong. If I just give 4 numbers, okay, 12, 34, 45, okay, the second I can give identical, then something, okay, and there is 4. Okay, that is something, okay, I just forgot to make this as empty, isn't it? That's it. See, so this is how you can track your your logical errors. Now we will work with this. We'll have numbers, right, and we'll have the same numbers. Now you can see that is 12 plus 12 plus 12 is 34, 24, and 34 plus 34 is 68, and so on. So the perfect output we got, isn't it? Now let us take this further for doing the to add two unequal sized list. Okay, so for that what I need to do is, first I will accept the size for the first list, and again I will have to so I will store this as n1. Okay, n1, and then I will give accept that numbers in L1, and then again I will ask the user to enter the size for the second list. Okay, so this is the size for the for the for the first list. Okay, for the first list, and this I will enter the size for the second list, and this I will run it from n1, because if I give n1 as 5, so it will accept 5, and maybe this I will make it as n2, and then I will run the loop to 0 to n2. So this is, maybe I gave over here as 5, and over here I gave it as 8. So I will accept 5 numbers in the first list, and I will accept 8 numbers in the second list. Now what we need to do is so simple. First we need to identify which is the smaller list. Okay, or even if what if I give both the numbers as equal. So first condition, if n1 equal to n2, if they are identical, then the logic will be same. So I'll just copy the same logic. So what I will do over here, if n1 equal to n2, in that case the logic will be same. So I can keep it as n1, or I can also keep it as n2. They both are equal. In that case this will not matter, and it will do the addition. Okay, else, or elif n1 is less than n2. Okay, so what we need to do in this case is, if n1 is less than n2, so I will run the loop till n 1, if n1 is less than n2, so obviously I have to consider the smaller list and I can do the addition with the bigger list. So in that case also everything remains same. Okay, and else if this condition goes false, n1 is not equal to n2 and n1 is also not smaller than n2, in that case n2 is bigger than n1. So what I will do, again copy this loop and paste it over here, and I simply make this okay. If n1 is not smaller than n2, which means if this condition goes false, which means n1 is bigger than n2, right? So I will just make this as n2, because in this else part n2 will be my smaller list. Okay, so now let us just run this program and see the output. I hope everything goes fine. Okay, there is some indentation problem. Okay, there it is. Okay, over here also there is an indentation problem, and over here too. Okay, so now let us run this program. So I'll keep this list as 5, first list. Okay, the second list I can give it maybe only 2, so I'll just accept the 2 numbers, and here it is. So 12 plus 12 is 24 and 34 plus 34 is 68, right? So we got the output. So what we are doing is we are always considering the smaller list, and then we are running the loop only till the size of the smaller list, and then we are just doing the addition of the numbers. Okay, so this is the second part. Now the last part was how about having the rest of the numbers, like if n1, if n2 is bigger, n1 is smaller, this condition goes satisfied, fine, we will add those numbers till the size of n1. Okay, but the rest of the elements of n2, what if I just want to add, for example, this is 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5, and simple I will take numbers like over here. Okay, just 2 numbers, so I will add 1 plus 2, so that will be 3 and 5, and then the rest of the numbers of the bigger list, that is 3 4 5, I will just simply add to the list L3. So this is what I exactly want to do. So what can be the logic? So what logic we should apply? Okay, let us try this one. Okay, I will use the extend function. So if you remember, extend function takes a list and it will add all the elements into that list. Okay, so it takes an argument, it takes a parameter as a list itself. So what I will do is I will use this, and okay, over here L1 is small and L2 is big, right? That is L2 is the bigger list, right? So yes, so L2 is the bigger list. Okay, so what I will do in this particular condition, L2 is the bigger list. So let us just try something like L2 and use the list slicing method, and I'll just try. I'll start from I and go till the end. Okay, now I'm not sure whether this will actually work or not. We have to see to it. And over here also I will apply for this particular condition, else part, L1 is bigger. Okay, so I'll make this as only L1, that's it. Okay, so now we will see the output. I'm not sure whether this is going to work, so we will just see. We just try things. Okay, the 5 elements over here I'll only give 2, and there it is. 12 plus 12 is 24, 34 plus 34 is 68, and okay, so it added from 34, 56, 78 and 90. So we had 1 2 3 4 5 6 size array, but I don't want 34, I want 56, 78 and 90. So simple, I will just make this as I plus 1, make this as I plus 1, that's it. Okay, now let us run this program one more time and we will see the output. I'll just give 5 numbers, and over here this time I'll give 4. Okay, and 90. Okay, now you can see 12 plus 12 is 24. 34 plus 34 is 68. Then 56 and 45 is 101. And okay, there is some problem. 168. Okay, yeah, okay, 168 is right. That is 78 and 90. Okay, and then the last element, you can see it just got added to that list. To make it more clear, just let us give some okay, I'll just give this size as 5 and I'll give simple numbers. Okay, and the second list I will give only the size 2, so 1 and 2. So you can see 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 2 is 4, and then rest of the element 3 4 5 we have added to the list. How I did this? Okay, I just used the extend function, which actually takes an argument of a list. So what I did over here, L2 is the bigger list. For this particular condition, L2 is the bigger list. I just sliced that list, that is I. So I basically runs from 0 to 4. Okay, for example, if this okay, L1 is maybe this L1 size is 2 and this is 5. So this loop runs for only 2 times, 2 iterations, right? So it will run for 0 and it will run for 1. Okay, so it will do the addition and store it in L3. But the bigger list, that is L2, I need to collect that 3 more numbers because the size of L2 is 5. Okay, so what I will do is I have used the I basically ran from 0 and 1. So the value becomes 1 over here. So 1 plus 1, so that is 2. So from L2, I will slice from the index value 2 and go till the end. And this generates a list of a new list, in fact, and that list will get added to L3. And the same logic is followed over here. So okay, for example, just to make it more clear, for example, L1 okay was 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5, and L2 okay is equal to 1 comma 2. Okay, so if you see this condition, okay, L1 okay, this is less than, so let us go for this condition. Okay, L1 is of size, make this as size as 5, and this is the size of 2. So in this case, this is N1 and this is N2. So in this case, this loop will run else part because N2 is less than N1. Okay, so what happens is L1 I will add, and 1 plus 1 2, 2 plus 2, that is 4, and then I've used L1. Okay, L1 is like this one, this is the bigger list. So I will take the value of I. Now the value of I, when once the loop runs it, for example, this is only size 2, so it the value of I initially was 0 and then 1. So the value of I remains 1 even if it comes outside the loop. So 1 plus 1, that is 2. So I'm taking 0 1 2 from here till the end of the list, and I'm adding that to L3. So this is how it is working. So this is how we have to use the append function and the extend function. Make sure you use the extend function, because if you use the append function, what will happen, the entire list will get added to the to L3. I'll just show you the output, how the output will look like. Okay, so if I 1 2, okay, I just gave wrong input, just a minute. Okay, let us run this again. Okay, I'll just give size 5, so 1 2 3 4 5, and this has 2, so 1 and 2. So if I see, this list itself got added to the L3, and this is not what we want, right? Okay, let us give that another way, that is I'll give this first list as smaller list like 2, so 1 and 2, and this is the bigger list 5, so 1 2 3 4 5. So everything is working fine, but I don't want this as a list that should get added. So this is a nested list that happened, so I cannot use the append. I have to use the extend function. Okay, extend function or extend method. Okay, so that's it for today. This is how you can do, practice it. It will be very easy for you. Bye for now. So before I say goodbye to you, do subscribe to my channel. There's a subscribe button in front of you. Click on that. And after that, click on the bell icon so that you can get regular notifications of my upcoming videos. And always remember one thing in your life, that impossible is nothing. Bye for now.